Willkommen in der Kolonie, Baby.
Alright everybody, so I already said in the community post that yeah, the iceberg is taking a little longer, even though I have a good amount of help from Slivers who will support me in the next entry and also in the entry afterwards, basically until the end. But still, you know, I'm a one-man army, so to speak, so it takes a while. But I told you that I'm going to do a non-scripted episode, and I wanted to connect that with the thing that I said in the very first episode. That we're talking and taking a look at the Gothic Archive.org. So this website is just, I mentioned it earlier, it's just phenomenal. It's a gold mine for every Gothic fan out there. There is so much material that probably many people haven't seen, and even I was amazed how much I didn't know about the game, which can be looked up right here on this website, and it's done by the guys of Phoenix Tales, and that is a mod that is in the making. Don't want to spoil too much. It's about the early versions of the early vision of what Gothic was meant to be. But yeah, maybe I will do an episode about that a little later on. But for now, we're getting into this. We're taking a look at this, and yeah, I will talk a little bit about what we can see here, what we can find here. And without any further delay, let's get into it. And this is the central hub, basically, and you can see there is so many different builds of the game that we can click on. Here's the Gothic comic, the early menu, artworks, even in Extremo, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, this is what we will witness. Yeah, but we're going to start at the very top, so let's take a look at the cover art. Alright. Interesting. So this is like the earliest version, I think. And I've never seen that on a box. So it was just, you know, an early concept of what we eventually came to know as the official box art. This one, I mean, we can see that, like, the basic idea was already fleshed out. You had the four, well, back then, player characters standing in the middle, the sleeper mask on top, and this very ominous background. And we got the official cover art of the remake not that long ago, and I did a video about that, I analyzed it. So we scroll down for now. These are the final versions. I think my box art was this one, but I also saw boxes with this art. I'm sorry. So these are the finalized ones, and I really like them all, I have to say. And I think that this might be even, let me check real quick. It's like my personal favorite might be this one. All of them have many things in common. The composition of it, the four, well, friends, back then player characters, as I said, and the very ominous background where you can only make out certain silhouettes. What I do like is the reddish horizon that you can see in the background. I like the composition of the colors. It very much reminds me, as I said in the video, of the, what is it, of the intro cinematic of Diablo 1. If you haven't played this game, please do. If that is the sort of game that you like, you know, top-down isometric view. Not really, but hack and slay, dungeon crawler, fabulous atmosphere. It's just so thick with with the mood, with the gloom. And actually, just a fun little side note that probably not many people know, in the design documents, in the early ones, they, oh no, it was the pitch documents. So if you're making a game and you look for a publisher, you need to have some material, you know, to basically advertise your product. And that is what a pitch document is for. This document you're going to show off to the officials, and they decide on that pitch, hey, are we supporting this idea or not? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the idea that I had about it. And in this pitch, they described Gothic, or rather the influences of Gothic, being Tomb Raider and Diablo 1. And there was always something about the game that I couldn't really pinpoint. I played Tomb Raider very, very briefly back in the day, like the old Tomb Raider stuff, and it makes so much sense, really. Like the graphics, the puzzles, and then the grim and dark atmosphere, especially when you take a look at the Fog Tower, for example, with these winding stairs going down inside the mine shaft. That really reminded me of the catacomb levels of Diablo 1. So yeah, I digress too much. This background is kind of similar to the one in the Diablo 1 intro cinematic. Very cool. And yeah, I like that it evolved with more crispness and more detail. Like if you take a look at the 4 friends here in this picture, you can see that, you know, there is the mage, there is the fighter, psionic, and the thief. But they're also looking quite a little bit comical in a way, very stylized, but the design got more tame as we move on, as you can see. And I like this as well. What I also do dig is the runes. I like it. You probably can translate them, but I'm not sure about that. Let's move on. Yeah, this is like the box art that I got. And it's really ominous that there is this weird silhouette behind the sleeper's mask. I can actually not make out what it actually is. But yeah, it looks dark and ominous, and it's just great. It's just great. This one is also very nice. Again, I love these kind of box covers or art. They're so ominous, mysterious, and what I really dig is the fucking background. I'm sorry, I gotta say it one more time. I really like that. So these are the cover arts for the different stages of the game. As you can see, they evolved quite nicely. But yeah, let's move on to the logo design. This is the first logo, 1998. Yeah, looks pretty nice. I think they never really changed it that much. It was pretty much the final design. Not the final design, but you know, the idea was basically carried over until, yeah, the German release. Look at that. That's the one that we know. And we take a look at the first one. They pretty much had it. I really like the font. Many YouTubers talking about Gothic, they use this font, including yours truly. It's just great. It's very fitting. But there is not much to say about it. Right, menu design. Look at that. Oh, look at this. Ah, yeah, now it's getting interesting. The Finster demo. Yeah, we're talking about that in the next entry of the iceberg, or the one after that. I'm not very sure about this, but yeah, this is basically a demo that kind of, you know, created the Gothic idea. As you can see, the team who did this was called Mad Scientists. It's like a how did they describe it? As a proto-Gothic demo in a way. And they already had the notion, you know, Finster. Finster, is that an English word actually? In German it means like gloomy, you know, when it's dark. So they already had this idea. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Yeah, this is obviously a very, very early screenshot, but we can already make out what it's supposed to be. There is the shadow beast on the right, there's the orc, which looks a little bit yellow in the face, and a human with a very interesting piece of armor. I really like that one. Obviously, the engine got refined over the years, and this is basically looking like the original engine. What is it called? The one that is used in the Elder Scrolls Redguard. This is basically the original version of the Zengen in Gothic. So if you want to play another game with that engine, it's yeah, Elder Scrolls Redguard. I think it was the first version of this engine. Well, yeah, kind of cool. And taking a look at the background, might be the new camp. The huts, if we take a look at the textures, they're very familiar. So yeah, got a cave background, something very interesting. Also the Shadow Beast, yeah, it looks kind of derpy right now with the textures, but the skeletons are already giving away what creature it is. And it also has this little beard that is also visible in the finalized version. Again, the orc, yeah, the colors have changed, the silhouette is basically the same. And yeah, let's take a look at the next one. Yeah, this is definitely... This looks so 90s. This looks so amazing. So nostalgic about it, even though I've never seen it. Background is obviously the sect camp, and we have this hollowed out tree, which is not the big hollowed out temple tree from the earlier versions, I think. They played much more with the idea of having hollowed out big logs of fallen trees or carved out trees. I mean, we see that in the final game, but there was way more in the earlier versions. Very cool. This one looks very interesting as well. I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of the loading screens of, what is it? Rayman: The Great Escape on the Nintendo 64. Very nice. Okay, a way more simplified version. And here we are going into the direction that we know the game of. The menu, that is. Okay. Is that some kind of loading screen? Looks cool as well. I like this. Yeah, okay. This one seems to be like the final version. I've seen it quite a lot. 1.8. Okay. Yeah, here we get the sequel stuff. I think we're getting more into the sequel stuff a little later on, but here's a great look at it. As you can see, many ideas are carried over into Gothic 2, even though I think that the context in which these things were presented the first time in the sequel were a little more interesting. But yeah. So we got a sick person down here. I was talking about it in the last episode of the iceberg. There is a sickness spreading in the old camp. We don't know, or I don't know, if there's also sick people in the other camps, because there is a playable demo out there of the sequel, of a modification. The team is doing that. It's called, the guy's doing it, it's the Gothic Sequel Entertainment, and I'm really looking forward to play this. But there is different kind of teams who are tackling this idea, and we see about that. It's not known if the sick people are in other camps, but they're definitely in the old camp, and you have these healers trying to heal them, and there's also these medici, the plural of medicus, or I guess medicuses. Officially, it would be called Mediki, but they're trying to heal them. And the sickness, I think it stems from the demonic corruption in the valley. Here we can see the Seekers. They are obviously a part of Gothic 2. There's a little demon flying. But the Seekers actually, they have a different background, and I don't want to spoil too much because I think this might be confidential information. Let's just say so much. An experiment gone horribly wrong. That's all I'm saying. Well, yeah, there's the boy Xardus in the background. He's watching over the stuff. This person here, that is the daughter of Roba II, and I don't know what role she played. She's actually in the sequel demo that you can download, but she's just standing there. But it's nice that they put a model of her in the game. Here we have Thora. She's the Amazon type. I always like, look, the basic idea of putting strong women into the game, I don't have anything against it, as long as it feels natural. But I don't want to digress too much. I think Gothic 1 has the right amount of women in it. It's a male prison, don't forget that. This is all I'm going to say, but in the sequel they planned so much more female characters, and strong and important ones at that. And Thora was one of them. She's an Amazon type, she's a fighter, she's something like an emissary of the king. She belongs to the envoy of the king that is basically coming into the Valley of Mines in the sequel. And you will eventually team up with her, and she will escort you to the mountain fortress, the stone fortress where you fight the stone dragon in Gothic 2, because that is where the king will reside for the duration of the cancelled sequel. So yeah, she also has, or it was planned that she had hair physics. Isn't that cool, actually? Like, this engine is so freaking old, but they kind of managed to do something like that. Obviously, it looks wonky, it looks janky, but man, I'm all up for it. All up for it. And her model is also used if you go to the Red Lantern in Gothic 2 in the port city of Corinus. And you want to have a good time and you pay Bromore, you know, you go upstairs. And the little cutscene that plays is basically using Thora's model. But yeah, that's it. This is the menu design. Yeah, obviously it is. Now we're getting to the loading screens and we are almost at 20 minutes, man. Jesus Christ. Let's take a look then. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, this is very, very old material. Version 64B. 0.64B. And again, you have this notion that, like, you know, the multiplayer aspect of the game. You've got the mage, again, the archetypes. This time they are different characters. Usually you see Diego, Gorn, Milton, and Lester as the four archetypes presented, but I think because it's so early, they use different things. I really like the armors, like the archer is looking like... He's actually looking like a fucking hobo. Look at that. But it's a nice bow model, actually. A very long arrow. Oh no, it's actually okay. The size of the arrow. The mage looks cool. Look at that! He's wearing a hood, which is basically a helmet. Oh my god. I don't know why there are multiple screenshots of mages wearing hoods. Why they scrapped this idea, I don't know. I don't know. Here's the psionic, and you can see that the basic silhouette of the novices is already in the game. You know, it's like a robe with a skirt, and then you got this big ass pauldron. You know, and the guy is bald, obviously, so this was an idea that was carried over from the very early beginnings into the final game. And here we have the warrior, and boy oh boy, I do like this armor. I'm a sucker for these kind of armors. You know, armors are a big important thing to the Gothic games. They're kind of milestones, if you will. You know, they give you identity. But sometimes I wish there were more neutral armors that you can acquire somehow. And this looks fabulous. Reminds me a little bit of those vanilla style classic pieces of armor that you get in World of Warcraft. Well, yeah, let's move on. Gameplay trailer 2000, okay. Somewhere between the trailer and version 0.94K, okay. Not much changes. Here we have a more reddish version of the Sleeper's Mask. It's more in line with the background. Okay. Gothic loading. Ah, here he is. And that's basically the final version that we get. You know, it's depicting not Gomez, it's the Grey Baron, the ominous Grey Baron that I talked about in the iceberg. And here we have the loading screen for the sequel, again depicting Thora. And I want to say something real quick. I think her proportions are a little bit odd. Like, she's got these huge things, you know, but the hips, they're so small. I wish they were more, you know, thick. That might be a personal preference. I think it looks a little off, but still a great piece of art. Okay, these are the loading screens. I think we might just call it a day right now, because as you can see, you can talk forever about these pieces. And we just made it to the loading screens, which is it's awesome. And next up would be the sequel art. And again, I showed off something like this in the last entry of the iceberg, but I think there's still many things to discuss about that. So yeah, we're at 22 minutes right now. And I say thank you all. I hope you're not mad at me that I'm late with a fucking iceberg. Again, I'm doing most of that stuff on my own. Usually I had a little bit of help from Slivers. Thank you, man. Love you very much. And I hope you don't need to wait another week for this. But yeah, I want to continue this one as well, taking a look at the pictures, you know, maybe we take a look at the design documents as well, but it's all in German, so I need to translate quite a bit. But yeah, here we go. Thank you all for watching. Oh my god, what's going on? Thanks for sticking with the channel. Please, if you like this, if you want to see more of this long lost and forgotten stuff of Gothic, leave a like, subscribe, and please comment if you're not agreeing with something, or if you know anything that I don't know, correct me please. And with that said, thank you so much. I wish you a good one, and see you next time. Goodbye.